Hello everybody, welcome to CSCI 301. This is Lab 1 CodeAlong. Purpose of Lab 1 is to give you practice using Git and GitHub and learn a little bit about shell scripting. So let's start with instruction number 1. And the first thing we'll have to do is to fork the class repo. Now what in the world is that? Well, let's open it up. Okay, and it said these are not the droids you're looking for, and I know why. Okay, I'm signed in. Okay, let's go back and let's look at the go back and look at the document again. Okay, here we go. Let's see, HTTPS, CSCI. Okay, well, let's go looking for it. Okay, I happen to have it where I jumped into. Worst comes to worst, you just type it in here and it should work. Okay, so what you want to do is fork it over, which is like you're taking a fork and getting a pork chop and putting it in your plate. Okay, so let's go fork. And I'm going to, it usually will take care of all the alphabet soup here. Now, my particular repository is just so I can demonstrate things to you. You will be doing your pull request directly to CSU tag CS. Okay, and this is a test. Repository. Okay, here we go. Okay, and there it is. And that is number 1. Now what you can do is you go through and yep, we got all of these files here. And that looks like what we're looking for. Okay, so what's next is step 2 is to clone it. Now to clone it you got to get on your machine. Okay, and we'll switch to our machine. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use the file system. You can use that if you use Ubuntu on VirtualBox. You can't use that if you're using WSL. Okay, so go into Home. I'm going to open it in Terminal. Paste. Okay, you don't leave this as your username. What you want to do is, like, my username is BG Picker, so I say BG Picker. Okay, if you have this fatal protocol HTTPS is not supported, you notice there's a little, notice those curly quotation marks there. You got to replace them with straight quotation marks, otherwise it's not going to work. You can't argue with fools, drunks, stupidity, and computers. Okay, it's going to ask me for my username. It's going to ask me for my password. I've got that off camera this time. I didn't the first time, so I got the... Okay, you just got to have faith it works, because it's not going to move. Okay, and it did it. Let's see. I should have a directory. I do. Okay, CS. I'm going to hit Tab. There's all my files. So, where should that put us? Let's take a look at our lab. Okay, we've done that. We verified there are files there. Now, let's go into there. Let's add the upstream, and the upstream is going to allow you to do a pull request. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm getting rid of those curly Q little quotation marks. I thought I'd gotten rid of them, but Word just loves to put them in there. Okay, so get remote add upstream. This is not my origin. VG Picker was my origin, and yours will be your origin. This will be your upstream. Okay, that was happy. Alright, let's go back. Okay, it's giving me a little bit. It's giving me a little bit of a headache here. Let's see, pull upstream master, VG Picker. Okay, so it likes it. Miss Tiffany's going to go sit down for a bit, I hope. Okay, so let's see where we're at now. We're on lab 1. We've completed step 3. Okay, we have the hello sh file in the lab folder, and you want to write a shell script that asks the user to enter their name and outputs in the constant hello followed by the name that was entered. So if I enter Hans, it'll say hello Hans. Okay, we'll go back and work on that a bit. Okay, first thing I will do is I will go into there, and I've got the bash CodeAlong part 1 where I go through and I show you how to do the program. In addition, I write some additional code. Okay, this is the one that you will use. Okay, and just to see how things are going, let's just try to run it. Okay. Alright, we are not in lab 1 right now, so we'll not find that. We have to go CD lab 01. Okay, and it's in there. Okay, and it says hello world. It's basically working. Now the question is that what happens if it didn't work? Well, one of the common problems is that your permissions are not correct, because Linux is very restrictive. It by default does not let you run program files. So to modify it, you have to say the magic word chmod 755. Okay, and that gives you the permission. 755 is some kind of mask that has permissions. You can look up what different numbers mean, but that'll get you where you can run it as an executable. Okay, so we basically have a program that works. We just have to modify it. Well, let's look at my CodeAlong. Alright, you see that echo there. Okay, let's Let's sit there and talk about variables. Okay, to read a variable, you say read in the name of the variable. Now you'll notice to echo it out, you say echo and $sign. Once you assign a variable, you define a variable, it will define it implicitly there. You do not have to define your variables in scripting language, and a lot of times you just simply can't. So what happens is this is console input output. So I'll copy this and we'll run it here just to see what it does. It sits there and looks at me. It sits there and looks at me because it's asking for an input. Now I'm going to eventually ask it to ask for a name, so I'll give it a name. I'll say Fred. I like Fred. There we go. So if we want to get that back, we say echo $myvar. Make sure that everything is spelled correctly and in the correct case, because Linux is case sensitive. Remember that. When you're banging your head and you don't understand why something's not working, check your cases. Okay, and it gives me that back. Now if you forget, you say echo myvar, it says myvar. The idea is that $sign is a special thing that tells it give me the contents of this memory location. Okay, now while I'm at it, okay, now let's just say myvar. Okay, you gotta leave those spaces out. It doesn't like it if you don't have those spaces. Now, one thing that's interesting is I could say myvar equal 3.14, not to be irrational about it or anything. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm hitting the up arrow. That's kind of nice. And rather than say, oh no, this is a number and you originally had a name and what are you doing to me, it just says okay. So it's not going to be very particular, so it's up to you to keep your variable straight, which, you know, that's freedom, but that's also can be a hindrance. Now here's something interesting. I'm going to put this down here. And I'm going to come back here. Okay. You notice it automatically just stuck it in there. Well, that's basically what you got to do to say hello somebody. So if I sit there and take my read and echo here, okay, and I probably need to tell them what to put there. Okay, and we'll be nice about it. Okay, so, and this is substitution. It reads this through and it substitutes it in. You notice what neat is it doesn't necessarily have to be a string variable. Okay. Save that. I hit Control S for save. I run it. Oh, it did exactly what I told it to do. I did not tell it to input the name, so. And you notice that it had a blank there because myvar had nothing in it because it was undefined. Okay, we'll try this again. Please input your name. I'm going to say I'm Fred. Hello world. Alright, that's rather interesting. Okay, there was a little pause while I found out what the problem was. The problem was I put a $sign here. This had a $sign. So this would have had to do a $sign, which is really confusing, so I just sit there. When you first declare a variable, you do not use the $sign because you're declaring the variable. Here it's say hello, the contents of the variable myvar. Okay, let's try to save this, see if it goes better. Okay, Fred. Hello, Fred. Okay, we are done. Okay, let's see where we're at on our procedure. Okay, we've modified the file. We've already done here's where it talks about modifying the position, permissions. There's where it runs it. Okay, now we're to the point where we've got to add it to Git. Right now it has been saved in the file system. It has not been saved in the little database called the Git repository. So, okay, when I say git add dot, dot is a short for this shorthand for this directory, lab1. This says add every file in there that's not already added. Okay, and it did that. And we'll say git commit. And various theories about how they come up with -m. I just say memo, I guess. Okay, this is lab 1. And just to be consistent, we'll say lab 01. Okay, and what this M here, this is just a comment. You can make it do whatever you want to. Ah, I forgot to do a couple of things. Okay, and I've tried to run this with a global. It does not work, so I'm not going to mess around with it. And what I'm doing is I'm user email. I'll use my school email. Okay, that looks good. I'm not going to do global because I basically only got one repository anyway. Okay, git config user email. Okay, it likes that. And I keep on wanting to use Windows commands. Okay, I'm tired of messing with this username. I'm going to get rid of the global. Okay. And let's try commit now. Okay, and it's happy. So, now the next thing we do Okay, origin means my GitHub repository under BG Picker. Master is a particular branch. You can actually branch out. If you have several people working on a project, you can have one project for each, one branch for each project. Okay, username. Okay, here we go again. Okay, and it's been pushed up there. So what should happen is if I go up to GitHub, let's see if I got any place there. There we go. If I go up to GitHub, okay, right now it's saying 3 hours ago. I hit refresh, it should say more recent than that. Oh, 2 minutes ago. And you look in lab 1, and sure enough the change is there. Okay, let's see where we're at on our procedure. Okay, we've committed, push origin master. Now, let's go back here. Let's do a pull request. Okay, and the pull request is, this is from me, this is to the central request, so I got to hit create pull request again, and then I got to do it again. Okay, and the pull request is there. Now what I'm going to do is, and you see what happens is it now shows up in CSUCS. When it does this, I will see this, and I will know that you've completed the lab and that you can turn it into me. So this is the basic development cycle for this course. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it helps. Happy programming.